The following podcast contains alcohol-enhanced conversations about alcohol, as well as the potential for the discussion about topics of dubious, disturbing, possibly offensive, but usually hilarious interest. The opinions stated herein are solely of the persons making them, and any endorsement of these opinions by any other party is not implied. Foul language is likely, but intolerant viewpoints are not. Listener intoxication is advised. Hello and welcome to our semi-annual Last Call episode, Winter 2021 edition on the Whiskey Tangent Podcast. I'm Scott.
And I am Ed.
And every 6 months, we like to take a break from all the drinking and mayhem and reflect back on all the episodes and shorts that we created in the past 6 months.
Except we keep drinking while we do it, so I don't know where the break is.
That's true. And we probably will also be mayhem. So brag about how many people aren't listening to us all over the world, and then tell you about what's coming up in the next 6 months. And of course, there will be tangents. But first, like always, Ed's just raring to get us going with some special shout-outs.
All right, thanks, Scott. Yeah. So first of all, we thought it'd be nice to just give a little bit of props to our co-host, Gabe. He was on 6 episodes and shorts. Mm-hmm. I mean, Gabe brings so much to the table. Another person who has been on the show in the past, Christian, referred to him as a national treasure the other day. With the way he spars.
That's right.
With the way he spars with me. We have such great chemistry when we're going at each other. Yeah. And Anders, of course, always very helpful and supportive of the podcast with the multiple weeks in a row for the March Madness, which just came out, which of course he got his jacket, and Gabe has a jacket as well. Right. Jeff was on 3 and always adds something unique to everybody else. Yeah. He has a huge whiskey head. It has, in the last year, he's become even more so. Oh my God, I know. He brings delicious stuff every time he comes over, and he gives us good ideas for future podcasts. Absolutely. Yeah. And of course, Siobhan, the mayor, was on her requisite amount of episodes. Yeah, got her jacket as well. Yes. Yeah, we'll talk about that. She got a jacket. Sue was on 1 episode, which is never enough for me. I can never have too much Sue. Right. Sue is just a delight, and she's always funny. Yeah. The ladies were on for an episode, Wine Finished in Bourbon Barrels, Shelby, Dre, and Nari. Mm-hmm. And we thank them so much for coming on. A newcomer to the show, Callum. Oi, oi. Oi, oi. Owner of the local eatery and pub in Mount Holly. And he really added a lot to our Beer Finished in Bourbon Barrel episode, along with my son Mike, who was on for it. Yeah. And then, of course, Doug and Joey from the lounge were on with a tremendous Blanton's episode. If you haven't listened to the Japanese Blanton expression episode, please do. Yeah, we'll definitely get to that in our recaps. So thank you for all the co-hosts and the guests who came on. Yeah. And really helped add some color and commentary to our podcast. Thank you so much. Now, we also had some interviews as we were trying to expand our content, and also based on people who shared whiskey with us. Now, particularly with the Whiskomentary that we did, Adam and Nora from Lost Lantern, which is a small and upcoming distillery based in Vermont. Mm. We also had Justin King from MGP in Indiana, talked about how Scott and I wanting 1 barrel, let's say, to put out our own rye whiskey, and Bullet wanting truckloads of rye whiskey, gallons, oceans of rye whiskey to put out, Bullet rye. And they can accommodate everyone. Right. And then to finish up quickly, Billy from Benash came on to talk about how he works with local distillery to source from MGP to make the famous Weeder, which is very big in our area, a high-proof weeded bourbon. And it was so great having him on. And what a great story we have. Benash Liquors in Cherry Hill, New Jersey is a honey hole of honey holes run by people who love whiskey as much as we do. And we can't wait to have Billy back on. Yeah, if you want to hear any of those interviews, listen to our 3-part sourcing Whiskomentary that we released in January. Right. And lastly, Steve, a fan of ours from Tampa Bay, sent us Red Drum Bourbon. Yeah. And it was delicious. Yeah, just wanted to give him an extra shout out. Like, who sends a
random podcast whiskey. It's such a crazy, great thing that he did. And we're so grateful. And if anybody else wants to do it, please don't hesitate.
Right. If you need our address, go to whiskeytangent@gmail.com, and Scott will be happy to give you all the information to send us any whiskey you want to send us. We will drink it, and we will talk about it, and we'll talk about you. And go ahead, Scott. You have one that you want to do.
All right. So last time I gave a shout out to the person who makes most of the music that we have on the podcast, and his name is Kevin MacLeod. You can find him at incompetech.com. But for the Whiskey Madness that just ended, there was a band called Nefix that we used last year for our main theme. This year, I decided to also use several other songs of theirs for all of the American brackets. They give their stuff away for free. There's no copyright. There's no royalties. You don't have to do any of that. And I don't know how they make any money, but they have YouTube videos and a huge following. So they're making money somehow. But one of the reasons I wanted to call this out was because Ed's former neighbor, Christian, who we mentioned earlier.
And former podcast attendee.
Yes, he was on the first beer episode that we did in our first year. Christian, after he listened to the first episode of the Whiskey Madness, he sent a text to Ed, and he called my music, because he calls it my music, Scott's music, he called it upper class emo dubstep cock rock. I can't say he's wrong, because that's what it is.
We want to give him credit for the time he took to describe it with all the adjectives
to come up with that 4-word perfect distillation of what that music
upper class emo dubstep cock rock. And that really sums Christian up. I've never met anyone in my life who has a tremendous brevity of words, and every word is epic.
Yeah.
And he might not talk for 10 minutes, but when he does talk, it's money.
You know what? He's like Hemingway. So Hemingway had an economy of words, as they call it.
That's what I was looking for. Economy of words.
Yes,
very good. The opposite of me, which is just word vomit. Just throw shit out until people get sick of me and walk away.
Dude, me too. I over-explain everything. That's why I have to write shit down. Or otherwise I'm like, blah, 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 blah. So Hemingway had a really concise way of speaking. He didn't use too many adjectives, but the adjectives he used were very pointed. And that's exactly what this is. So Christian, if you're listening, I'm giving you a compliment. You're like Hemingway.
And I think he's like, of course I am.
Of course I am, you fucker.
Now, will you guys get some sponsors already? What are you waiting for?
Yeah, he's a big listener, and we appreciate that.
He actually offers a really good critique and some good feedback. So thanks legitimately, Christian, for all that you do to help support us.
Absolutely. So speaking of listeners.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah, we're going into the listener stats.
So yes.
And this is sort of a shout out to all of our listeners all over the world.
I want to interrupt you a second.
Okay.
Just so you know, while we are going through all this, we are drinking Manhattans.
Oh, that's right.
That Scott made with Weller Antique 107.
Mm-hmm.
And some really good, which vermouth did you use?
Oh, the Coqui Torino.
Coqui Torino vermouth with the Weller 107, a delicious Manhattan. We did a short before this on Weller 107. So 3 weeks from now, it's going to come out, and you can hear all about how we promised to make this Manhattan, which we're already drinking. So you are in the whiskey wormhole.
All right, so the countries. So last time we had 40 countries.
40 countries have downloaded our podcast.
At least once. We have a very low bar for this.
Yeah. Like Argentina did it one time, I think. So we count Argentina.
Yeah, so we had 40 last time. We have 5 new ones. Are you ready?
Are you not reading all 40 anymore? We're too big for that?
No, we're too big for that. But the 5 new countries are, then I'll do the top 10.
Okay.
All right. So the 5 new countries are Austria.
Wow.
Okay. Finland.
Been there.
Well, that's right.
I've been to Finland. I think I would have helped them, but I didn't.
Belgium.
Nice.
Denmark.
Been there.
You were there too, right? Yeah. And Greece.
Yeah. I should have been dropping my cards the whole time. Oh, that's right. We didn't have a podcast then. That was in 2018.
Oh, shit. You're right.
Yep.
Wow. That seems like
less possible, right?
Yeah. All right. So
the top 10.
Those are the new ones.
Number 1.
Number 1. United States, of course. I mean, it's 90% of our listeners are in the United States, but the other 10% are Canada, Afghanistan, which of course is our buddy Brian, who lives in the area, who was stationed in Afghanistan.
Hello,
he's still holding on at number 3.
Hello, Brian.
Spain, Taiwan, Germany, the United Kingdom, South Africa, Mexico, and India.
Right. So the United Kingdom is Scotland, of course, the Republic of North Ireland,
Right.
Wales, which I have a feeling that nobody in Wales listens to us yet because
Right.
they barely speak English.
I
And
wonder if there's Welsh whiskey.
that's a whole other adventure. And of course, I mean, maybe we gained India from the March Madness because we featured Amrit. I don't know.
But, India and Germany are big whiskey drinking countries. Ireland is just down on the list. They're number 12. Australia is also right down there at number 13. So,
I think what's exciting about this is we have no real friends in Canada.
No, we don't. Yeah, Canada's number 2.
So for Canada to have 333 downloads,
3% of our listeners.
from people we do not know, is kind of exciting. But
have you been to Canada?
I have.
Yeah, I have too, actually.
Yeah, I went to Montreal, actually.
Oh, Montreal's probably amazing.
Yeah. It was fun. They have casinos and stuff. It was good. I lost money.
Cool.
I lost money, but I lost money at like 15% less than if I lost money here, though. So
because of the exchange rate.
The exchange rate, right? So it's like I lost like $150, but it's like $120. Really.
That's a bargain.
Yeah, it's like I got a discount on my losses. And here's the kicker: we've done very little Canadian whiskeys. I mean, the bare minimum Canadian whiskeys.
Bare minimum. We did
like Crown Royal XO.
Crown Royal. That's it.
All right, and the Whistle Pig, which gets their shit from Canada.
Right, they're sort of kind of Canadian.
Far away.
They source from Canada.
We promise that we will do at least another episode that features Canadian whiskey.
Yes, in our preview of 6 months, we might talk about that. So after the countries, we like to talk about the states. We still, as of last time, had only been listened to in 47 of the 50 United States of America. We are now at 49. As of the past 6 months, Vermont and Nebraska are now in the win column, plus the District of Columbia.
Well, Vermont has Whistle Pig and Lost Lantern, so when we featured Lost Lantern, I figured they would listen to it, and they live there, so I hope they will at least break the cherry of Vermont. Nebraska, I have no idea in the Cornhusker state who we know.
Well, corn. Somebody's got to be drinking bourbon there, right? They have to have a lot of local distilleries in Nebraska.
Yeah, I just feel like they have farmland and sadness. I don't know.
Oh, my God.
Have you ever driven through Nebraska?
I have not.
I mean, you have to be used to it. And if you're from the East Coast or the West Coast, you're not used to it. But beautiful state and beautiful people, from what I understand.
So the only one left, the only holdout. Wyoming.
Oh, Wyoming. Shit. I mean, they're the smallest state population-wise. They only have 500,000 people.
Yeah. It's a huge state with
like
5 people.
I think they only have like 4 computers. That's the problem. They don't have any internet there. There's no antennas.
That's not true.
No, they do. I think it's 4 computers and like one antenna. And then what they do is they bring the car battery in at night and they hook up the radio to it and then listen to FDR's fireside chats.
What, they're listening in the past?
Yes, exactly. That's how far behind they are. We're going to drive there in a year if they haven't listened to us, and we will listen to it ourselves. So 49 states, Wyoming, I mean, we can't get too mad at you. You are the smallest state by population.
Yeah.
I know you drink whiskey out there. In fact, I like Wyoming whiskey.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite whiskeys that's kind of under the radar.
So here's the weird thing about the stats. So we have 1,459 listens in the category called U.S. Others. Mm-hmm. So the Podbean feed couldn't determine where the person was listening to it. So
there's an extra 1,400 listens that we don't even know where to put it to.
Right. We don't know where.
That's how many listens we have now.
Right. It's so many.
Listens just stacked up around the house.
Oh, my God.
We can barely move around here.
We're like hoarding listens.
Listens are all over.
So we'll just do the top 10 real quickly. New Jersey, no surprise, is number 1.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, also no surprise. They're right over the river. We're only 15 minutes away from the Pennsylvania border. Right. Maryland is number 3, holding steady from 6 months ago.
Still not a surprise. They're still close to us.
California, still number 4.
Big population.
Yeah.
Surprised because we don't really do anything to cater to them.
I don't know anybody in California. Do you?
No. That's all.
I lived there when I was 4.
That's all organic. I don't think any of your kindergarten friends are rocking us right now. So look, keep it going.
Yeah. So number 5, with a bullet, up 7 spots from number 12, Illinois.
We know absolutely nobody in Illinois.
Yeah.
So every listen in Illinois is organic.
It's terrific. Number 6, holding steady again, is Florida. Steve,
Right.
holding down the fort.
Besides, thank you, Steve. Had nothing but great times in Florida. It was so much fun. And you have great whiskey, evidently, because I tried your red rum.
Right. At number 7, holding steady, also Virginia. I have some family in Virginia, so I don't know if that's him.
Yeah,
I have a cousin who lives in Virginia.
I'm a northern boy. I like the Northeast. If I had to live in the South, Virginia's where I'm going to live.
Yeah. Falling 3 spots, ignominiously.
Right.
New York.
I mean, it's hard to keep New York happy. If you remember, the 6 months before that, we had Hill Rock on. We had Widow Jane Decadence on. Mm-hmm. So we were kind of kissing New York's ass a bit.
Right.
And then
we stopped kissing New York's ass.
Right. We went and did some other things and some, other
so
you're
people. Saying they're like Janet Jackson. What have you done for me lately?
Right. What have you done for me lately?
Number 9, holding steady at number 9 is Georgia.
I love that. Atlanta.
Georgia.
It's got to be Atlanta. I mean, I do a few Facebook ads just to get our name out there. Nothing crazy. I've never even included Atlanta, I don't think. So, the fact that people who are listening to us in Georgia is amazing to me.
I've actually been to Georgia. I went to... Well, when I was married to my crazy ex-wife, she was really into Cabbage Patch dolls, and we visited the Cabbage Patch doll headquarters.
Right. And once again, he doesn't mean his wife generally is crazy because she's a pretty level-headed person. But when it came to dolls...
Oh, yeah. That's what I mean.
Crazy dolls.
She was crazy for dolls.
Like
she really was.
She had 2 full bedrooms of dolls.
Yeah. We had a 4-bedroom house and 2 bedrooms for the dolls.
Right. So I don't know who the owner and creator of Cabbage Patch is, but she has him on speed dial and knows him by name and could have lunch with him.
Oh, he did. And I used to know his name, too. I don't forget it now. He looked like Kenny Rogers, though. He had the white beard and he's...
Okay. R.I.P.
Have you said? R.I.P.
Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers. Pour one out.
Everyone pour one out.
Down 2 spots from 8 to 10, Missouri.
Well, I mean, somebody has to take the fall when everybody else jumps into the world. It looks like Texas got bumped out of the top 10. Mm-hmm. I remember last year we had done a Fistful of Bourbon, which focused on Texas.
That's right.
We haven't really featured Texas last 6 months. And Lord knows they are kind of divas as far as if you don't talk about them, make them special, they're going to go away.
Like New York.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of like
so the biggest mover up 13 spots.
Right.
From 28 to 15, Massachusetts.
Right. Now, I did send a Facebook ad to Boston. But very recently, so it shouldn't have really impacted your data, I don't think, but maybe it did. So maybe people jumped on. I'm happy about that.
Also, the brother of the cousin that I have in Virginia, his older brother lives in Massachusetts, in Boston, actually.
Well,
so
there you go.
But again, I have no idea because I don't really talk to them. Anyway.
So, I mean, we're coming up on 2 years. When you think about it, I've done no real marketing. Like I said, I've done $200 in Facebook ads, which is the equivalent of what you would do
in 2 years.
Right. If you want people to come to your garage
it's
sale.
Like $8 a month.
Yeah, right. Not even. So
if you want to come to the garage sale.
So our marketing budget is like $8 a month. And
so you can see how much we're paying Siobhan.
We're very, and I'll be honest, another shout out has to go to Whiskey Advocate, which is a magazine, is the premier whiskey magazine in the industry. They do an amazing job. It's a throwback magazine to a time that doesn't exist anymore. It's big, it's colorful,
it's glossy, it's got that thick paper, like just really huge, bright pictures of
charts and this great articles.
I think Gabe and I were talking about there should be a centerfold.
Yeah, there should be a centerfold.
Like a giant bottle.
Yeah, like a Pappy Van Winkle with like the cap off.
Did you see the Pappy centerfold in the Whiskey Advocate?
What was that, a 25? What was a 25 Pappy? So, Whiskey Advocate magazine picked us as one of the podcasts to listen to, and that helped us a lot. But anyway, thank you everyone who supports us. Thank you, Whiskey Advocate. Thank you for all the distilleries who have reached out to us. And hopefully, I can't wait to see who we talk to in the next 6 months.
Absolutely. So, let's talk about the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Our favorite part of doing this is going through the recaps of the past 6 months. Now, I just want to say that we have split our podcast into seasons.
Yes.
So every 6 months is now a season. So the last call episode, the one we're doing right now, marks the end of a season. So we've done 4 of them. So we're doing the season 4 recap.
Right. Let's go through the episodes.
We'll get into it. We're going to strap in. We're trying to go rapid fire.
Yes, really fast.
No, we're not. It's not going to be fast at all.
Can we take a break? That's pee.
Okay.
All right.
We'll take a break.
We'll be right back.
All right, we're back, and we're going to start recapping all the episodes. Ed has peed. I've made another Manhattan with
so
the
good.
Antique Weller 107. And coincidentally, the first podcast that we did in season 4 was the W.L. Weller Special Reserve Quick Taste.
Right, and we talk a lot about it in the quick taste for the 107 that's coming out in 3 weeks. So
Yes.
we're not going to spend a lot of time on it. The biggest part about that, it was Scott's birthday. I overbought for the Weller just to have it because we had never tried it.
Right.
I actually got a better price for the 107 than I got for the Weller, but the Weller was a liter. I told Scott when I bought the liter, I said, listen, the 750 is your present. The 250 is mine.
Believe me, he drank at least 450.
At least.
At least.
All right, so right after that, we had one of the most just delicious episodes we've ever had on the podcast.
Yeah.
And Jeff was part of that.
Yeah, Jeff, Ed, and I were on a Zoom tasting with the Barrel people. Banash set that up, and Jeff ended up striking up a conversation with the brand ambassador for Barrel, and he said that, you know, he had been on our podcast, and he got some samples for us to taste.
Right.
4 of them, plus a dovetail that he had bought. The proof is 123.8.
Wow.
There's no age statement, but it is purportedly a blend of 10-year-old whiskey distilled in Indiana, finished in Dunn Vineyards in Napa Valley, California, Cabernet barrels, 11-year-old bourbon distilled in Tennessee, finished in blackstrap rum casks, and late bottled vintage port pipes.
Right, and then filter through the pantyhose of Marilyn Monroe. That's what I hear.
We can only hope. Happy birthday, Mr. President. Wow, what an amazing tasting whiskey night. One of the best ones that we've ever
No,
had.
it was delicious whiskey, where the first whiskey was the worst and it was still amazing. And then each one we had after that was the best whiskey we ever drank until we drank them all.
Until we drank the next one.
Barrel Craft Spirits, I mean, they're a mover and shaker in the industry. They're like destroying market share. They put out so much product. It's 15 years. It's 13 years. It's a blend of a 7, a 9, a 12, and a 15.
And most of their stuff is just one-offs, and you can't ever get it again.
And I don't think there's another company in America like Barrel. I will say that right now. I'm giving them the shout out.
And I think it's the people who are there because they have really good palates and they really like whiskey, but they have, I don't know, just a special talent for blending whiskeys.
And I think that they favor Scott's mentality of whiskey as opposed to mine.
Yes.
And I'll explain. I have in my house right now 4 bottles of Henry McKenna 10-year. I have 4 bottles of Eagle Rare. I have 2 bottles of Willet Rye. I have 2 bottles of Bullet 10-year. Scott's mentality is, I'm going to go out for my Journeyman Last Feather Rye, and if the store doesn't have it, I'm going to take that $45 and I'm going to just find something else to drink. They have something I'm going to enjoy.
Right. Everything that Ed says that he has multiple bottles of in his vault.
Yes.
I love them. I love all of them. They were terrific expressions, but I know that there's going to be other ones that I'm going to love as much, or maybe not.
I think that's terrible. But, I mean, it's okay. It's okay if I have a few of my standards. If I have Henry McKenna and Willet and Eagle Rare, and I get to try these one-offs, that's okay. But I need something to anchor to. He's not like that.
Yeah, so here's a metaphor for you. So Ed and I are on vacation. So he gets on one of those paragliders that it's being pulled by a boat.
So I'm getting dragged through the ocean,
You're
basically.
getting dragged through the ocean, but you're tethered to the earth.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I, on the other hand, get in a hot air balloon and I just float around the atmosphere.
Okay.
Which actually I would never do because I'm super afraid of heights. But whiskey metaphor, that's us.
If I have 1 bottle, I won't drink it. I won't drink it until I get a second bottle. Scott looks at me like that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Right. Just drink it. You have it. You love it. Just drink it.
No. If I drink it, I won't have it anymore. So I'll get a second bottle and I'll drink that one and I'll always have the first. In case something happens where we need it for the podcast, or my friend comes into town and his favorite whiskey is Baker's and I have it, and then I'll crack it then, but then I'll spend the next month finding another Baker's.
Right. Basically, Ed is a hoarder.
When it comes to whiskey, yeah. And I didn't realize that until I got whiskey.
Yeah. I'm not judging. I'm just saying.
Listen, I'm not that crazy, all right? I know someone, I'm not going to say their name, Doug. He has 122 bottles at his house.
What?
122. He had to go out and buy a $2,000 whiskey cabinet to hold them.
No.
Now, I counted mine 36 in my house, and half of the ones in Scott's is mine. So I have another 12 over here.
That's true.
That's a lot for a normal person, but if you're a whiskey head, it's not that big of a collection.
All right. So
let's get through this.
I know.
We're going to move quick now.
Are we?
We'll see.
So we did, after that barrel episode, we did a short on the top 10 things your dumbass friends think they know about bourbon,
right? Which
was an article by Lou Bryson.
Lou Bryson's a great whiskey guy. We're going to have him on exclusively. He's an amazing guy. I have 2 of his books.
He's a nice guy. We tweeted our episode to him. He retweeted it. He reached out to us and said, let's do an episode together. And we just never got back to him. Sorry.
Well, it's COVID.
Sorry,
he knows
Lou.
that.
Yeah.
He doesn't live that far from us. We will have him.
Oh, that's right.
My goal is to have him in Scott's actual apartment and do a live episode with him.
Absolutely.
Sometime, maybe in the fall of 2021. That's my goal.
But the thing about this episode, it's really good if you need a refresher on what bourbon is.
Yeah.
This is perfect because the rules about bourbon are very complicated and they're easily forgotten.
All right. So 2 tremendous expressions, and I have been criticized for saying the word expression too much. In fact, my friend Christian says that if he hears me say expression one more time, he's going to throw up in his mouth. So
say expression again.
So have fun. Have fun with the mouthwash there, because I just said it again. I did promise him that I would get a whiskey thesaurus and check out some other terms.
Okay.
But I have spirit and expression. Right now, that's all I got.
The whiskey thesaurus was the drunkest of the dinosaurs.
Okay, number 10.
Okay. Number 10. Bourbon has to be made in Kentucky. Of course, that's false.
That's absolutely false.
Right.
It's not champagne.
This, he says, might be the most common misconception, though.
Yes.
Now, you can make whiskey anywhere in the world, of course, but if you want to call your whiskey a bourbon, you must follow these 5 rules that represent production, fermentation, distillation, aging, and bottling. It's only 18 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's got me and my stupid hat on the logo.
Yeah. Yes. Scott's in his party hat.
All right. So after that, we did episode 32, the United States of Whiskey, our first foray into the seedy underbelly, I guess, if you will, of the small craft distilleries that exist in every single state in America. And we started off with Tennessee.
Right. Random states, no order to it.
Mm-hmm.
And try to find some of their middle established brands, not their biggest one.
Right.
Not Jack Daniels.
Right. We was Tennessee. We did not do Jack Daniels purposefully.
But George Dickel, which is an established brand.
Yeah.
And then compare them to what we felt was the best upstart craft distillery, which was Corsair.
Corsair, right.
Triple smoked. Their dark rye, which is one of the most unique whiskeys I've ever tried. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you've never had the Corsair dark rye, you need to find it and try it. And it is special.
It's wonderful.
I've never tasted anything like it. I take hats off to Corsair. Give it a try if you haven't had it.
The other one we did on that podcast was the Uncle Nearest. That has varying expressions. The one we chose was the cheapest one, just to get them into the fray. You're getting all the traditional bourbon notes on the nose.
Yeah.
There's some fire and depth to it, too. It's not a thin smell.
No,
it's not very light at all.
So what's the proof? 93?
93. I'm using a neat tasting glass.
Yeah. You have a Norling glass.
Yeah, I knew mine was different.
Because we only have 2. We haven't gotten the sponsorship from the Neat Glass Company yet.
Okay.
Yet. Siobhan, that's your job also.
Right.
Oh, right. Yeah. I'll add that to my list of things to do.
Yeah, jot that down.
Okay, so wow. I agree. I'm getting oak, vanilla, caramel. I don't get any fruits.
I'm getting cherry.
You always have to disagree with me.
No, I thought I was really...
No, I just said I'm not getting it for you. I get cherry. It's right after I said
That's like the first thing that came to my head. And I was
I'm just kidding. You're allowed. I'm just kidding.
Although you had been eating gummy worms.
Right. Oh my God, I'm getting gummy worms. It's amazing.
I smell sour apple, peach,
and purple. But I firmly believe that their higher tick expressions are probably much better than their original.
No, we'll give it a taste, and they've actually had a really big exposure. And I have to tell you, it's part of it is because it's a recipe that is attributed to the first black distiller.
Right, who worked for Jack Daniels.
Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
And Jack Daniels has acknowledged that Uncle Nearest was their first master distiller.
It's a great story. We talk a lot about how bourbon distillers like to try to create a backstory for their whiskey, and these guys didn't have to create one. It was right there.
Yeah.
All right, so after that, we did the Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond Quick Taste.
Once again, an overpayment on Ed's part. Probably $70.
Oh, shit,
it should be $40.
Yeah.
But I wanted it. I got it. Flaviar, once again, if you need it, Flaviar has it, but they're willing to fleece you.
Yeah.
They're like a loan shark of the whiskey industry. They will give it to you, but you will pay for it. Like, they had a 20-year Eagle Rare for $13,000, okay?
Dude.
With a straight face. Like,
What?
how do you put that up on the internet?
What?
They had an Old Fitzgerald for like $3.99. Like, it's it's legit.
Fuck that.
Exactly.
That's fucking bullshit.
Fuck that. So
The thing I remember about this one was Jeff was on this with us. Jeff likes his stuff neat, and I think I put an ice cube in it, and he's like, "You ruined it."
he loves high proof. He loves it neat. And so when Scott put ice cube in it, it's like Scott put his penis in it. It's like, oh my God, you just put your
Oh my
penis in my
God,
glass.
you ruined it.
You ruined it.
Yeah.
So we're like, just try it. We're trying to show him how like ice and water can open up some flavors.
Jeff, what do you think about it?
I'm drinking it neat.
Yeah, you're not a fan of putting.
at all.
Yeah.
What about distilled water? Do you ever add water to it?
I haven't.
Maybe try putting like 5-6 drops of water to help open the flavors. I mean, it's not me saying that. The entire Scotch drinking industry says it.
Oh, I dropped an ice cube in there.
Oh, yeah. So give it a sip there. Tell us what you think.
Take
If
a
you don't
sip
like
of
it, just smash it on the ground and storm out. Made him laugh when he was in the middle of drinking whiskey. That's not a good feeling. It goes into the back of your nose and all.
I know.
And he chased it with straight whiskey. I love it. He drinks it like we ask him to, and then before he swallows it, he takes another swig of straight whiskey.
He just
He refuses to taste it the way we
I'm
ask him.
hardcore. I'm sorry.
yeah, he just doesn't like it.
I never saw that before.
Yeah.
And he is definitely a person that likes this shit neat. So
Yeah, he is the knight who says neat.
very funny.
Oh, shit. All right. So after that, we did episode 33, Ladies Night 2. We went and had the ladies back for a while. We didn't know exactly
Right.
in what context.
They all love wine.
We didn't want them in another cocktail episode, but they all like wine. So I figured let's do wines aged in whiskey barrels.
So the girls came in and we had whiskey finished in rye barrels, Scotch barrels, bourbon barrels.
Mm-hmm.
Each of the girls brought their own that they wanted us to try.
Yeah, we had them do their own research because to make it interesting.
Right,
And we did a quiz between the three of them to just ramp up the the tension.
They got very competitive.
They did. In round 2, the points were Dre has 300, Nari got 100, and Shelby got 50. So at the end of round 2, the totals are Dre with 400 and Shelby and Nari tied with 100.
All right, but anything happens in round 3.
Round 3, the points are tripled, and there's only 3 questions, so anything can happen.
I will fucking crush you. Shut your whore mouth.
I love when we get them to turn on each other.
Exactly as I planned it.
Oh my God. Who's prettier?
Scott.
Scott's the prettiest. They're a good answer.
That is correct. So much fun on that episode.
Yeah, it really was a good episode.
Although we recorded 2.5 hours.
It was the longest episode we've ever recorded.
Oh my God, I cut an hour and a half.
They're all millennials. I'm yelling at them for being on their phones while we're on the air. I'm like,
I was yelling at them too.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, we're on the air. Can you put your phones away? And it's like, they can't. They just can't. And then I had to learn, like, you know what? They're fine. Talk to the one that isn't on the phone. Right. Like we had to adapt too. We're old, so
right.
The fault was really ours. They were being who they were. Like when we asked them, they had great stuff to say. They had great research.
They did.
They were prepared.
They can compartmentalize.
Yeah.
They can do 9 things at once.
Call us back when you want us. We're right here. Next time I have them on, I want them drinking straight whiskey. They've been kid gloved enough.
Yeah, it was cocktails.
Yeah.
Then it was wine finished in whiskey barrels.
Yeah.
Now we're going to do whiskey, but it's going to be whiskey that has a wine connection.
Yeah, it's time for them to earn their keep with a nice whiskey episode.
Right. And it'll get them even drunker and funnier.
Yeah, really fun.
All right, so after we did that, we did a quick taste of the Thomas H. Handy Sazerac Rye.
That was like, what, a $600 bottle?
Yeah, a friend of mine had gotten that for his 50th birthday, and he was nice enough to give me a couple 2-ounce pours with that.
Right.
And we were doing the Tennessee whiskey thing with Siobhan, and we figured, well, because we had done the Sazerac Rye with her and Gabe, so might as well taste that with her because she really liked the Sazerac.
Yes.
And this is the
emperor.
The emperor of Sazerac. All right.
Well, it's really good.
I really like that. I could literally just drink this.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else.
Yeah, you think that, but it would cost you hundreds and hundreds of dollars to do that.
Who wants to be my whiskey daddy?
And so the Thomas H. Handy, $600. Once again, we've tasted the Boss Hogs from Whistle Pig, which were $450. I did taste the Boot Hill from Heaven's Gate, which is about $500.
Well, none of those words made any sense to me at all.
Well,
Boot Hill, Heaven's Gate.
Well, you know Heaven's Gate because we did a double barrel against the Woodford Double Oaked.
Wait, Heaven's Gate?
Am I doing it wrong again? Yeah. Oh, Heaven's Door. I did it again.
Oh my God, Heaven's Gate is the death cult.
Yes.
They thought the aliens were coming with the sneakers.
Right. Heaven's Door is the Bob Dylan distillery that did the Boot Hill.
Okay.
So let's go back to that.
Now I got you.
Now we're there.
We're there. We're keeping all of that.
I don't know. I think the Thomas H. Handy might be a little bit more expensive than the Boot Hill, but they're both around $500 or $600 depending on where you can get it, and they're absurd.
Again, this is Buffalo Trace. This is supposed to be $99. They release an expression every year, and people gobble it up, and they sell it for like quintuple the price.
Right. So it was very good.
It was very good. If you can get your hands on a bottle for around the price that it should be, 100, 110, even 120.
200.
Oh, wow.
Throw 200 up there. It's,
all right.
Because
it's your birthday.
Because the rest of the world's spending $600. But I will say what's interesting is that no doubt the Heaven's Door is the best whiskey I had of all the expensive whiskeys.
Wow.
Even the Thomas H. Handy, no offense to you. If you want to send us a bottle, we'll talk lovingly about it.
All right, so after that, we had a bonus short. Our first bonus short was the submission from Steve from Tampa Bay, who we talked about earlier, the Red Drum Bourbon Quick Taste.
And here's a guy who I can see me being him. Like, hey, man, I live in Tampa Bay. I got this great whiskey. You guys are whiskey heads. I dig what you're doing, so you should try this. And he sent it to us, and you know what? I was fully ready to say, Steve, your whiskey is urine. I was ready to send it right back at him. Like, I've tasted a lot of local whiskeys that taste like asshole. And you know what? It was delicious, man. It really was. Mm-hmm. I've never tasted anything exactly like the Red Drum. Do you agree?
It's a really good bourbon and not just a generic bourbon. It has a little bit of floral character to it. The distillery knows what they're doing. Yeah. It has a nice, deep, rich color to it.
Yeah.
It's not cheap. It's not rushed.
No.
They have classes. You can make your own bourbon. Age it there. Have it shipped to you. It's fucking amazing. But making the distillery a reality took more than just a business plan and financial backing. They had to make legislative changes. You see, before 2014, microdistilleries in Florida were not allowed to sell craft spirits directly to the public, nor could they be located in commercial areas. So with the help of state representatives and local lawmakers, they were able to remove the antiquated Prohibition-era laws and usher in a craft spirits renaissance in the state of Florida.
Fucking Prohibition.
I know, it just fucking...
How long? It's 100 years. It's been 100 years. Yeah. Fucking the South. Can you please let go of it? God damn.
Seriously.
It's like sodomy laws are still in the book. Just for everyone relax. Wait, what?
What? Relax for sodomy. Okay.
Way to sneak that one in there.
Yeah, sneaking it in. I see what you did. That was a great time. I read the poem on the side of the bottle and like good stuff.
Steve, we should hang out, man. I mean, I hope you have a guest room. Scott and I can sleep in a twin bed together.
No,
we can't.
No.
On a twin bed, just on
what? I am 6'3".
Right, and I'm 6'3" wide. So it's like together we're 12'6".
We're 12 and a half feet tall. Wow.
Steve, honestly, we're coming. Tell your wife, just get some blankets out.
Wow. And fill up on the Red Drum.
Red Drum.
Right.
So anyway, thanks so much for saying you're the man.
All right. So after that, we did episode 34, our second bourbon barrel beer episode. We
got fucking drunk as shit, bro. That beer, we haven't drank beer like that in so long.
Right. So I was going to say, we cut our teeth on beer. We are beer drinkers from the get.
Like IPAs, Hop Devil from Victory. I did all the hops you can imagine.
Right. I brewed my own beer.
God, yeah. Before we drank whiskey, we drank beer.
But since we are whiskey fans, Ed and I went to the liquor store. We sought out all the bourbon barrel beers that we could find.
It wasn't easy.
In the liquor store.
We could have doubled it.
We did 7, and Callum brought his own because we knew he would.
Right.
He's the owner of the local lounge.
Along with Derek, yes, of the local eatery and pub in Mount Holly.
He's Anders' boss.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And he's a huge beer guy.
Yes.
So it was actually Anders who said, you should have Callum on instead of me.
Yes.
And it was a brilliant move because Callum was also from England and has an amazing English accent.
So the next one we got is a little bit Innis and fucking Gun, the original Scotch barrel aged golden ale.
Nice.
Gonna be lovely.
The idea was first I was going to do it, and I'm like, you know, it'd be more fun if Callum did Cockney, borderline offensive English accents, and that's what he did, and it was hysterical. We had so much fun. I mean, we got tuned up because, man, the beer was so good. We drank it so fast. If you really like beer and whiskey, that episode was few.
Yeah, we try to do something for everybody. And your son Michael was on it as well.
My son Michael was on it. He was very funny.
Who says you can't start your day with a bourbon-aged stout?
I know I smelled the taste of espresso. I said the espresso.
It's not Mexican coffee.
Oh. Honestly, I don't see myself going out my way and getting this necessarily. Again, this is like for that, like you said, a specific, I want to taste coffee type of feel.
Yeah. This is really good, though.
And when the hell do you ever feel like that, I guess? But I guess some people
do. Oh, my God, yeah. Coffee.
People do, yeah.
They have espresso martinis. They have espresso
the
ice cream.
espresso tequila.
Sí.
Sí, tomé.
Excuse me. All
yes.
complaint letters from
from the Mexicans, Spanish people all over the world.
whiskeytangent@gmail.com.
No.
Attention, Scott, and attention, Michael.
Well, Michael has a Spanish baby, so Michael is disqualified.
This is like a white person. It's okay because I have a black friend. I can say that.
Yes. My fiance and daughter are Spanish, so I can say he tomé.
Well, okay, but she's Dominican, not Mexican.
But her stepfather is Mexican.
Oh,
wow, we're really stretching this out. She ate a Taco Bell, okay, so it's okay.
His second episode,
he gave great insight. He passed out for 20 minutes and then rallied and came back and was still enjoyable and enlightening.
Right.
And then after that, we went to the Infinity bottles.
Yeah.
Which was
Infinity 3D.
Yeah, so
it was our third one.
Scott and I, why do we have two bottles? I forget.
So we had our own. Then Gabe made his own.
Right.
It was our third Infinity bottle. It was Gabe's second Infinity bottle.
Correct.
But he had also brought an Irish.
Right, the Irish, right.
So that's why we had 3, and we're doing 3D, because we're doing like 80s movies sequels here. So we had Infinity, then we had Infinity 2, Electric Boogaloo, and then we have Infinity 3D. Then the fourth one is going to be It's Personal.
It's Personal, right. But in that episode, we had two of the funniest things. Right. So, first of all, in the middle of it, Siobhan enters the studio.
Yeah, because we were recording 3 things with Gabe that night, and we invited Siobhan over
to post-party with us, but we ran a little late, because as we tend to do when we're doing 3 different recordings.
Yeah.
And I greeted her. I mean, we greeted her, and she greeted us back, and for some reason, she felt the need to do this. Hey, everybody, we're back now, and we have cleaned the glasses, and we have poured our third Infinity bottle, which I know what's in it, but I forget. So Scott's going to remind me, and Gabe has no idea. And Siobhan has now entered the building. She is.
Hello, Siobhan!
Hello.
Yes.
Very much so.
Me.
Yes, thank you.
Trust me, we hear you. So she brought us some nice bottles of water.
Justified belligerence. Fuck you, Ed edition.
Oh!
Wow.
And then
later on in the episode, we're talking about how, me and Gabe spar each other a lot, but I volunteer that I would be happy to take a bullet for him. Because basically we have 23 whiskeys together in the glass, and they're not liking each other at all. They're like, no, you get off me.
No,
get off me.
They're fighting much like Gabe and Ed do.
That's just good podcasting.
That's true.
I'd take a bullet for him in the shoulder, not in the chest or in the groin. Definitely not in the groin, but
in the shoulder or the knee.
Yeah, or the forearm, or like in the fleshy part of the thigh.
The calf. Maybe the foot.
Calf.
Maybe
I would
the
take
foot.
a bullet the calf.
The hand. The hand's good. How about
no, that would hurt.
How about just graze the ear?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a huge ears.
Yeah.
I mean, they could take a lobe off.
Take a lobe off. Take a lobe off, Eddie.
Take a load for free.
Take a lobe off, Eddie.
And you put the load right on
me.
Dude, my earlobes are like base scallops.
Oh my God! You could like just slice off Ed's ear and dry it, and it'd be like a dog treat. Oh my God! that is probably one of our funniest sequences that we've ever had. Because this is why we wanted to have a podcast. Because Ed and Gabe and I and a lot of our friends, we build our comedy off of each other.
So when you hear that exchange, we would do that without a podcast, and then we would say we really need to have a podcast because that's fucking stupid and funny.
All right, so after that, we got into the holidays.
Right, so a really terrible thing happened to us. First time ever, we did the cocktail episode. It was a great episode with Sue and Siobhan, and we got through about 40 minutes of it, and the last 10 minutes got completely corrupted. We have no idea why.
Yeah.
We couldn't use it. So Scott was able to edit it and make it work. But we had also done a short with the girls that night.
Ironically, first.
Yeah, we did the holiday short first, and it was very good, and the entire thing was corrupted and unusable. Scott and I had to re-record it on our own without the girls.
Yeah.
And it was very upsetting. We made it work, but I mean, he went out and bought a new laptop. We bought new this, new that to make sure that we wouldn't have that problem again. And we still worry about it every episode because...
Yeah. I'm looking at the heat map of the recording, making sure that it doesn't look like the heat map of what happened because you couldn't hear it.
No.
When you were doing it, but when you played it back,
it was terrible.
So we recorded the episode 35 holiday whiskey cocktails. We made a maple old fashioned, a bourbon Alexander with ice cream.
Yes.
And then also the wassail. So and the short that we did before that was supposed to be Christmas Eve story time. And Sue told a very heartfelt, personal, like tragedy, but also very uplifting at the end story about her personal life. Then Siobhan told a story about her as a child. I told a story about my grandfather that was a little sad, a little scary, and a little funny. And then Ed made a poem about the 'Twas the Night Before Christmas that we ended up re-recording with my story about the West Point eggnog riots that I had told on episode 35. And we decided, well, I'll just tell that story again. You can do your poem again. And we'll taste the whiskey again because we still had whiskey. It was the Abuna from... So good. Aberlour.
Yeah, very, very good.
And we just made it work.
No, it was fine.
And honestly, both episodes came out great. Episode 35 is one of my favorite episodes of the past 6 months.
The girls did a great job.
Siobhan, her story about the fire alarm with the cat vomiting everywhere.
Yeah, the only reason why I heard it is because my cat Madison was doing the effervescent vomiting at approximately 6:43 in the a.m. So that if anyone's a pet owner, you immediately jolt out of your bed because you want to know where it is that they're vomiting so you don't step in it. Especially in my instance because I wear glasses. So I immediately jump up and I'm like, where are you vomiting at? And she's in the bathroom. And Madison vomits in threes.
Oh.
So, yeah, this is great. This is lucky me, right? So she's on her second vomit, and all of a sudden the alarms go off.
I think that was a Beatles song off Abbey Road. Madison vomits in 3.
Oh my God. I mean, I felt so good. I felt so relaxed.
Yeah.
We had such good whiskey cocktails.
Yeah.
It was such a
We
convivial
have to have
mood.
them back again. Siobhan and Sue was a great mix.
And Siobhan got her jacket in that episode. The second person to get that. Gabe got his in episode 22. Siobhan got hers in episode 35, holiday whiskey cocktails. And then, like I said, we did the Abuna short for Christmas Eve and Christmas. I fucking love Christmas Eve. I love that short.
Right.
And then we went right into our sourcing 3-part whiskeyumentary in January.
Yeah.
This is such an amazing thing in whiskey that a lot of people don't realize where things are sourced from.
Sourcing is huge. The whiskey mentaries are for Scott and I. We like to think, we like to debate, we like to look at.
We're also stupid.
Yeah. Which is why
it's a mix.
Yeah, we can be incredibly basic.
As you know, if you listen to us for any
but there's another side to us. So so when Prohibition is an amazing topic to us, we focused on it last year for like 4 episodes. This we thought we could handle it in 3, and we did. We recognized quickly how sourcing is very important in the industry, and we addressed it.
It's a really fucking cool story. And that's why when I read about this whiskey, I was like, it's sourced. It was originally sourced, and it has everything to do with what we're talking about today.
Right. The mash bill for this is 73% corn 18% rye, and 9% malted barley, which is my type of a bourbon. I feel like I'm dragged to high rye bourbons all the time. But anyway.
I don't know who's doing that. You're a grown-ass man. You can drink what you want.
I know, but there's, if I can drink your whiskey, it's cheaper than drinking my whiskey, I found.
So that's what it is. So we had several interviews in that, which we talked about previously when we thanked the people that were on that.
Lost Lantern, Benash, MGP, so forth.
Yeah. So after that, we did a Blood Oath Pact number 6 quick taste. One of our very first shorts that we ever did was Blood Oath Pact number 5.
That's right.
And just recently, the Blood Oath Pact number 6 came out, and Marty and Rachel from the lounge picked up a bottle for themselves.
Right.
We actually tasted it first a little at their house.
Yeah, we had some of theirs because it was there. The flavor was lost in the scrumptious ribs that we had that night that Marty cooked.
Oh, yeah.
So my mouth was full of barbecue and spice, and we had praying mantises on the table as party guests. It was
right, the fucking praying mantis was like,
hey, are you going to finish that?
Yeah.
Seriously, he jumped from like the plant in the middle of the table to the bottle of dark rye.
Yeah.
Basil Hayden that was there too. Then I jumped back to the plant. It was all over the place, that little guy.
Can you mind if I bite your head off when you're done?
So the
after
you?
I was just gonna say that. Damn it. Continue, Ed.
So we
Thank you.
And listen, Luxor does a great job with what they do. And if you have an extra $100 to $120 in your pocket, go buy the Blood Oath.
Right. We talk about what a Blood Oath actually is, too.
Right. Scott goes into the history of Blood Oath.
Maybe a little too deep.
Maybe he does.
As I'm wont to do. So after that, we did episode 36.
Right.
Anders back after like 6 months. We hadn't seen him in a while. Old Forester versus Four Roses, a throwback episode. We hadn't done 2 bourbons for... episode 29, I think, which was the Bakers.
Yeah, that's one bourbon. We haven't put 2 bourbon distillers against each other until I don't even know when.
Right. It was before that.
Right. So there are 2 distilleries that we respect a lot.
We hadn't done them before.
I like Old Forester a lot, but I have to tell you, because of their different mash bills and yeast combinations, Four Roses has us more to offer.
So the website says dried spice, pear, cocoa, vanilla, and maple syrup.
All right, so we said sweetness and pear. We had that.
Yeah.
I get the pear. I get a bit of the spice.
Interesting.
Wow. What the?
It's totally different.
What the fuck is that? Yeah. Holy shit.
It's really different than the nose. Wow.
Wow.
It's good. It's good.
Holy shit. This is making me crazy. This is a bourbon?
It's bourbon, yeah.
It's so spicy.
What is
It's okay, Scott. Relax.
I'll be okay.
And Anders got his jacket.
Right, and Anders got his jacket number 3.
Even though he had been on like 17 episodes total, he had only been on 5 numbered episodes.
Right, numbered capital E episodes. That's how we do things.
Yeah, shorts don't count. Whiskey Madness doesn't count.
Nope.
You have to be on a numbered episode. 5 numbered episodes, which are usually about 45 minutes.
Right, yeah.
Or an hour.
It seems arbitrary, but I kind of like it.
Yeah.
You got to be here for something important.
Because Anders wasn't here for like 17 things before he got his jacket, but he wasn't on for an episode. So
right. So after that, we did, if you hearken back to last spring, we did a whole short on Blanton's.
Yes.
So Blanton's and its interesting connection with Japan. It was made for the Japanese market.
Yeah, and Scott went through and introduced all of the products that are basically produced for Japan that we can't get.
There's several. There's like 7 or 8
of them.
of them.
The gold, the barrel strength.
And Ed and I thought at that time, we'll never get to taste these.
Right. This was basically a year ago from where we are now.
But as luck would have it, being members of the lounge with people who also like whiskey, as much as we do, as much as you do, Joey, our friend at the lounge, was able to get 4 different Japanese-only expressions.
Right. It's such a great group of people down there, and we're so glad they would come on today. And basically, Joey was like, "Hey guys, come over to my house and you can try the expressions." Like, or come over and let's record the experience because it's going to be epic and one of a kind, and that's what we're doing.
Definitely.
They're just trying to stay out of my sex dungeon.
Oh damn!
Right.
Wait a minute, you have a sex dungeon? Wait, I'm rethinking this whole thing.
He calls Doug Spider. We call us another fly.
There you go.
So he showed up, and not only did we drink that, But Doug brought Cask Strength Redbreast. He brought a local whiskey, Devil in the Rye Field, which is over 110 proof. I will say that I never got drunker on the podcast than I did in that episode. I was hammered.
And this was recorded the day after we did the whole beer episode.
Right.
Where we drank 8 bourbon barrel beers.
Right. So we did our regular episode on Saturday. We got done here at like 1 a.m. And then we were back at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. One of my favorite days ever in my life. I tasted at least 7 amazing whiskeys.
Honestly, we would never have gotten to taste these without Joey or Doug.
Yeah, Doug and Joey, thank you so much, and we'll have you on again.
We will. All right. So after that, we go right into the Whiskey Madness. So we did a special preview where we just sort of highlighted the brackets that we were doing.
Yeah.
And then we went right into it. Episode 1, 2, 3, as this recording, the 4th one hasn't quite come out, but by the time you hear this, it will be all over. We'll have a winner. I think it went great.
It was exciting. We added a world bracket, so we had whiskeys from France, India, Canada, and Japan, on top of Scotland and Ireland, on top of American bourbons and American ryes. And there was some really exciting upsets that introduced some new whiskeys to the people.
So many upsets.
So, like, spoiler alert, the Evan Williams Bottle and Bond, which is 4 years aged, it makes it really far. It upsets Heaven Hill 7 year. So the same mash bill, aged 3 years more, it performs better. Why? I don't know why.
I don't know why either.
I don't know why. I wouldn't have predicted that. So 2 out of 3 of us picked the Evan Williams, and 1 of us picked the Heaven Hill.
And if you listen to us, you can hear us.
We're
wailing.
horrified. Uh-oh.
All right.
I just making a face like something happened again.
All right. So,
yes,
we have a winner.
Is it unanimous?
To move on.
Is it unanimous?
It is not.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Shit.
Interesting.
So, Gabe, you chose B. Scott,
Yes.
you chose A.
I chose A. Yes.
Ed, you chose A.
Oh, wow.
And A was.
And in a split decision, Evan Williams Bottles and Bond
shit!
moves on. The number 4C in the bourbon bracket moves on to the final pour.
Wow.
No! We're horrified at it because I love Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond, but the Evan Williams beat it. I
We
don't know
were
what to tell you.
absolutely keening about Heaven Hill losing that. Like,
But it was $20. It was better than remember, I spent $70 on the fucking Heaven Hill.
I know.
I could have had 3.5 bottles of the Evan Williams.
seriously. And you know what? That's it. We've reached the end of our recap. So now we're going to do the season 5 preview. We are going to record 19 podcasts between now and the next last call.
At least. There's always a chance for a 20 bonus.
There is always a chance. So I'm going to talk about the episodes. We're going to do about 9. The first one that's coming up, we're going to do American single malts.
Yes. It's kind of a new thing that's becoming bigger and bigger.
It really is.
And my time at the lounge has exposed it because Anders keeps a tremendous plethora of American whiskeys to choose from.
Right, because he only does American whiskeys and he can't have scotches. So American single malts are a big item on his menu.
Right.
And we're not unfamiliar with American single malts. The Lost Lantern was a mix of single malts from 5 or 6 different distilleries. So after that, we're going to do our 100th podcast.
Naked.
Yeah. We're going to do a back to basics episode, just me and Ed. And if you recall, our first episode was on Bullet Rye versus Redemption Rye.
Yes.
We're going to do a Bullet versus Redemption again, but we're going to switch it up and do their high expression bourbons.
Yeah, like 10 year versus 9 year.
Right. So after that, where we have a barreled non-whiskey spirits, we're going to do rum, gin, and tequila.
Barrel aged spirits, but not whiskey.
Correct. We have on the docket a Cocktail Combat 2. If you remember our first cocktail episode, we called Cocktail Combat because it was Manhattans versus Old Fashions versus Boulevardiers. In this one, Anders is going to judge a competition between me, Ed, and Gabe making cocktails.
Right. So it'll be like a show Chopped from like the Food Network.
Right.
We're not sure of the format.
Get elimination.
Yeah, so like the original Chopped, like, all right, the first guy's clipped, there's 2 left, and then you put your best drink out, and whoever wins.
We don't know yet, but we'll figure it out. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm nervous about Scott because he makes really good drinks.
It's a really good episode. This is Ed's idea. This is probably one of his best ideas.
Yeah, I have great ideas every now and then. This is one of them.
We're definitely doing another Scotch episode. Yes. We promised last year to do an episode with Ed's friend, Joe.
Yeah, Joe and Lisa.
Right, who are really big Scotch drinkers.
Well, Joe is, and Lisa's a big bourbon drinker like us, who's not really a Scotch drinker. So I'm thinking maybe he can help turn us all to the dark side.
Right. We're absolutely going to do another Japanese episode with new snacks. That'll be a lot of fun. Like we said before, we want to do a ladies' night with some wine finished whiskeys.
Yeah, it's time for them to drink some whiskeys.
Indoctrinate them into the whiskey. And I think the last episode that we do before the last call will be another cocktail episode. And we're thinking of doing bottled cocktails. Like there are a lot of whiskey companies that are just making cocktails and putting them in the bottles and saying this, you can just drink this right out of the bottle.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to do about 10 shorts and other things. The first one that we're going to do, a Toasted Barrel Elijah Craig quick taste that we did with Anders.
Very good.
After that, we're going to do the Weller 107, which we talked about.
Antique,
quick taste. You're in the whiskey wormhole. We're going to do Low End Whiskey Madness Invitational.
Right. Last year we did really expensive stuff. Little Book 2, Little Book 3, Midwinter Night's Dram, and Hill Rock. And now we're going to go the opposite. Everything's going to have to be under
25?
Yeah, under 25.
Yeah, under 25.
So what's the best under 25 whiskey we can find to win a bracket?
That'll be great. We're going to do Quiskies and top 10s. We might do a how-to short. We want to do a whiskey wormhole, another singular expression from the past that has been discovered or kept in like somebody's basement for decades, and we're bringing it out. It may not exactly be a whiskey, but it is still a aged spirit.
So my friend Pete has two that we're talking about. There's a pinch Scotch from like the 70s,
definitely,
or 80s,
definitely that. Yeah,
and then there is a Louis the 14th. Is it the brandy?
Oh,
the cognac that's like already normally like $1,500 a bottle.
Wow.
He has one that his grandma bought and left to him from the 70s.
Oh shit.
So it's probably worth like $5,000. So like his brother has one. He's like, no, I'm going to keep it and sell it. and my friend Pete is like, I want to drink it. So I'm like, if you want to drink it, you should drink it with us on air.
Well, Pete can come, but his brother can't.
Exactly.
Who's his brother's name?
Tony. What's your name?
Tony!
Fuck you, Tony.
Fuck you, Tony. All right.
It's my favorite TikTok of all time.
Have you ever seen that TikTok?
Yeah, so that's what we're looking to do.
So that's our episodes and shorts that are coming up in season 5.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I just want to say that I'm thankful for everybody who listens to us, because honestly, the thing that kept me going during COVID, it kept me something to focus on, something to research, and not necessarily drinking, because we would do that anyway, but I'm just really thankful for the opportunity to present things to people that I'm passionate about, and that people are actually listening is amazing.
So true. I mean, we took a dip during COVID as people weren't driving to work anymore. Okay, that's when a lot of people listen to podcasts, and we get that.
And we have a couple people tell us that, kind of got out of the habit of listening to you because I wasn't going to work.
Right. So eventually we found that people, once they realized the new normal was not driving to work, then they would find a way to listen to our podcast, and numbers started going up until finally our biggest month ever was last month.
Yeah. Which
was February of 2021.
Yeah.
So can't ask for more than that. People are enjoying us, and that makes us want to come up with new content and new ideas.
And honestly, Ed, I'm going to tell you right now, by the time this airs, we are going to be at 10,000. So I'm just going to call it. We're at 10,000 listens.
I remember when we hit 1,000. It was probably right after our first.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what was the number at our first?
At our first last call?
Yeah. Do you know that?
1,500.
So 3 seasons later, we're at 10,000. So the growth has been exponentially amazing. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
We're looking for a great next 6 month. And again, if you have a chance to drink the Antique 107, please do. Because it's carried us through this episode tremendously.
Definitely put it in a cocktail if you want to. Where did my cocktail go?
I don't have
Is this mine?
How can that be yours?
I don't know.
Oh, I guess it is. Yeah.
I guess it is.
No, so I'm going to make another cocktail that's mine, my third Manhattan, and that's going to be the end of the night for me.
Yeah.
But for the Whiskey Tangent podcast, the last call for
Season 4, Winter 2021.
This is Ed.
I'm Scott.
Thank you so much for listening, and let's have a great whiskey year.
Woohoo!
If you enjoyed this podcast episode, be sure to check out our next episode, which is way better than this one.
Oh, yeah.
Also, follow and like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Whiskey Tangent. And follow us on Twitter at Whiskey Tangent. You can follow me personally at That Whiskey Guy. And follow Scott at Giant Cup of Awesome, spelled AWSUM, just to be annoying.
Hey.
You can email us any questions, comments, or love at whiskeytangent@gmail.com. And of course, you can find us always at our podcast website, whiskeytangent.podbean.com.